Welcome everybody to the first and hopefully not last edition of Slow Your Scroll. I'm joined with Kulani Watson, a star of social media here in Hawaii and probably a bit further than that. A little explanation, because this is the first and hopefully not last edition, is Slow Your Scroll. I wanted to start as a conversation between content creators in Hawaii and learning about them, because all we see when we're on social media in our feeds is you just scroll, you see their post and you go to the next one, you see their post, you go to the next one. So I wanted to start for a really long time to actually meet the people behind those posts. And little backstory is how this specific podcast got started was I had reached out to you because we were doing a story about how Polynesians are having like a renaissance, I guess you would say, in the entertainment industry in Hollywood. And I was and I had seen a post that you did that you were saying that exact same thing. I was like, oh, we could speak with him. And eventually we actually didn't even end up doing that interview. No. And
it's left me in the wind.
Yeah. and then so we ended up not doing that interview, but then we just continued talking about how it would be interesting to just, like I said, speak to the content creators, and you were super on board with that and enthusiastic, and you went out of your way to like reach out to all your fellow content creators.
Above and beyond.
No, I
hope you realize, Derek, that I'm not.
No,
I'm just playing.
I mean, even though I know you're joking, it's so true though, because when I pitched this to my digital team, and I said, I have this idea for a podcast where we talk with content creators. They're like, oh, okay. And I was like, but look, I have all these people that are on board that you had spoken to without me even asking.
40 of them.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Dozens. And I was like, look at all of them. And you went out and even gave me a spreadsheet of their TikTok followers, their Instagram followers, their handles, their contact information. Like, you did all the legwork that I would have been doing. So
for free, my guy.
So,
but this is payment enough right here. I feel good being here. So thank you so much for having me on, Derek.
No, I mean, like, that passion and enthusiasm to do this was something that even pushed me along to do this, and as more than just like, oh, this is an idea that could happen. So putting it together. So before we even start, I do want to say thank you, because it honestly wouldn't be possible if you hadn't have done all that.
Wow, thank you.
So we'll get into the actual conversation now of who we're with. We're with Kulani Watson, as I said. Instagram, I think he's got like 63,000 followers. Yeah. And how many on TikTok now?
I think it's like 54,000.
54,000.
No,
it's an incredible following, especially I think for someone in Hawaii to like break through almost like that glass ceiling of, like a couple thousand and hitting like tens of thousands of followers. Yeah. So I think the first question is like, how did you get started in creating content?
So I tried Vine for a little bit. I don't know if you guys remember Vine at all, but I tried Vine for a little bit and it just didn't hit at all. I remember seeing like Russell Sotele and Bronson Varde and Kili Sosili. They were all so huge on Vine, but I just never popped off on there. Fast forward to 2017, my wife and I, we moved to Utah. Change of scenery is, Hawaii is always expensive, so we tried Utah out. And in Utah, there's a group called Yosamo. It's a Samoan duo. Harris and Sam, and they would pop off content, and I was like, these guys are so funny. And then they came out with like a challenge, like a superhero challenge, because they're building like their fob version of the Justice League or something. And so they said, send in your video and have a chance to be a part of the fob league or what, I forget what it was called. And then I sent my submission in. I was like, I can do that. So I sent it in. And they reposted it, and when they reposted it, it was like people started commenting and liking, and I was like, "Whoa, I like this feeling." So the next big thing was that they did like a parody on "Beat It," Michael Jackson's "Beat It," and I got to be a part of that. And ever since then, it was just I was doing content with them now. So instead of just like being a part of a contest or anything, it was consistently doing content. Then another group sprouted, which was called Super Friends. It was me, Letty, and Conan, who I'm really good friends with in Utah. And we started doing our own content, and it was like very cinematic content. Like it's kind of the content, so ahead of its time, because that's the type of content that I'm trying to do now is like cinematic comedy, kind of like along the lines of like Key and Peele, or I forget his name, but he's
full on sketch comedy.
Yeah, sketch comedy kind of vibe. So so that's what we're doing, and then this Instagram page called New Hawaii popped off, and Crichton Wale and
When was that?
Steve
What year was
James.
that? Do you know?
That was 2018, because we moved back in 2019, so it was probably about 2018.
Yeah.
Instagram page called New Hawaii. It was kind of like a collective of content creators, pretty much Hawaii content creators. So you would create your content, and they would take the content and they would post it on their page, and it would just get more eyes on it, pretty much. And we'd be supporting. There was like 40 of us in that group, and we'd just constantly be supporting each other. I haven't met any of these people, but Crichton Wale, Easton James, they started the page, and then they were kind of running it and going through it. So then I moved back from Utah in 2019, and then I got to meet all those people that were in the group. And since then, I've been friends with a lot of them, and I continue to create content with them. So that's pretty much the foundation of like how I started in content creation. Yeah.
Like, what were you doing prior to content creation, though?
Oh,
For work?
I was working at TNC. So I was at TNC.
I worked at TNC.
Yeah. Which location?
The Ala Moana one.
Ala Moana?
Yeah.
So you know Lester,
It was like right after college, and
Okay.
it was like maybe for 2 months or so.
I know Lester and Adrian were like.
I know Adrian. Yeah.
Adrian's so cool. So I was training at Ala Moana because they were opening up the new Ward location, which is where it was right next to the Genki, but it's not there anymore.
Mhm.
So I worked at TNC as customer service, but I was also designing T-shirts for TNC. So a lot of people don't know that. Like, I have a background in graphic design. I didn't graduate in graphic design, but I do have a background, and so I was I created probably like 40 T-shirt designs for TNC. Yeah, I'll send some your way afterwards. But I was working for TNC, got married in 2015. And then I was working at TNC and First Hawaiian Bank at their call center. And if there's anything that for me personally, if there's anything that makes you think like, I don't want to live like this. I don't want to be, like I got to follow my dreams, It was that job for sure. I'm not trying to like diss First Hawaiian Bank at all, but just call center, man, that's...
Sure, it's a lot of angry people.
Yeah, and you're dealing, it's
Yeah.
their money, and there's some stories that was just constantly day in, day out, like constantly being like berated with just
How do you deal
comments.
with that? How do you deal with being yelled at? Because here, like, we get angry viewers all the time,
yeah.
and sometimes they're like, "You said such and such," and I look at the script and I'm like, "No, we didn't. I'm sorry." And you just have to be polite, even though you want to like be angry back. But
Yeah.
how do you deal with people yelling at you when it's like clearly not your fault? You're just like the middleman.
In the beginning, it was very polite, and then when you know that it's that whole thing. It's like, let me speak to your manager kind of thing vibe. It's like, well, my manager taught me to say that, so it's just not gonna. Anyways, more towards the end, I would kind of just play around with it. I think the comedy part of me kind of started to kick it, not in a bad way, but it's just. I remember one lady was just snapping it. She couldn't get into her account because she didn't have her account number or her. Or any of the information that she wanted to provide or needed to provide, she wouldn't go through. And I just remember telling her, I can't give you any of your account information because you haven't provided me the blah, blah, blah. And she went off on me. It was like, she was Filipino too. And she oh man, I'm just remembering it. It's funny in my head, but if I say it out loud, she said, "I am a supervisor at Macy's, and you will never have this." Like she was saying,
You'll never
like,
shop at Macy's again.
You'll never like. You'll never succeed as far as that, you know, kind of thing. Like a Macy's supervisor. Oh no, I'll never get my chance. It was like basically just trying to compare me to dirt and stuff. But come to find out, she was trying to get into her account at Bank of Hawaii, and not for some bank.
That's
so.
I can't name any. I can't name any of the like news stations, but I can definitely say we get calls. They say you said such and such, and I was like, no, that was actually another station. Like that wasn't us. And then oh, okay, well,
but they
sorry.
still got to. They still got to like keep.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, and she kept on the whole facade like that she was right, and I was like, okay, so
Have a great day.
yeah, have a great day. Click, and then on to the next person that throws you into the dirt or something like that. So. Yeah, that was not a good time. Once I got to Utah, such a like entrepreneurial state. Like everybody's starting up a business in Utah. It seems like. So once I got to Utah, I just felt like, okay, what do I do? You know, and I started creating content. I started like a media company, like a Lost Boys marketing. It is called Lost Boys Marketing. It's still going. Conan Peterson, my good friend in Utah, he's still running that whole thing. He's killing it. So we did I was into marketing. We're doing like video work for businesses, the Utah Warriors, the rugby team over there. And then I got into like helping doctors get their licenses for so random. One of the I don't know if she was a coach or she was like the team manager, was on the Utah rugby team. And she, on the side, helped licensed doctors. So she asked if I wanted a job there, and I just went for it. So just random stuff. I'm like everywhere.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, I think,
Can do it. So would you say now you're a full-time content creator? Like, is that your main job, or like is that just like a side project and a passion project for you, or is that where you're making like the bulk of your income now?
Oh, bro, there's if I'm going to be honest, there's depending on the work that you put in. There's like right now I'm not making any income off of social media or content creation. I was when Instagram had their Reels pay.
Yeah.
You like if you got a certain amount of views on your video, then they would pay money out. I think the most I got was like 800 in a month.
Okay.
For content, and I'm not like a huge content creator. That's just within my parameter. But Instagram took Reels pay away. They did the whole blue check mark thing.
I mean, you definitely know more about that than I do. Like, I don't know like that whole pay system or anything. So I think like a lot of viewers who probably think like, oh, this guy's got like tens of thousands of followers. He's probably, that this is probably his job, and because you put out content so consistently, they probably think like such as myself, like that's your main gig.
I wish, but in the beginning, like 2020, I think we started working towards making it like business, like making content creation a business.
Mm-hmm.
It was working well. We got to work with a lot of great businesses, Hawaii Self Storage. We got to work with Residence Inn in Kapolei. We got to work with a bunch of food venues. Got to work with who else did we work with? Roofing company, I forget the name, I'm sorry.
I mean, you see a lot of collaborations now with like I'm trying to think, like Xavier, how's this guy, he's doing Toyota commercials and stuff, and so I think maybe people see that and they're like, oh well, content creation, he's in commercials, like this is their main gig. Like, and
that's why I said it's dependent on the work that you put in. So in 2020, we were just working with a lot of businesses. And that's the thing, is like when you jump from like making funny videos and then now it's about business, and now for me, it was like about the group. There was about 8 to 10 guys within the group. And then once money's like, I'm going to be honest, like once money got involved, things started to like kind of go like, hey, why is he getting more work than I am, or this and that. So the role that I pretty much took on was project manager. So it was like writing the skit or reaching out to the businesses, seeing if they're interested, writing the skits and emailing them the skits, solidifying everybody's schedule, making sure that like the amount of time that we're there, we'd all get paid fairly for within the budget that they provided. And that's the thing too, is like people's schedules just didn't match, so I couldn't use them. And then I'd use certain people more than I would other people because their schedules didn't match. And then all of a sudden it turned on me. And
You're the bad guy.
I'm the bad guy because I'm the guy with the money. And now it's like, why are you putting food on their table kind of thing? But yeah, so it was going good. And then that happened. I was like, okay, I'm just going to step back because of that. Like, I not lost, but I didn't speak to friends for like 2 years because of that situation, you know.
Internal drama.
Yeah, internal drama. It's recently, like within the past, this year actually, we've actually got to mend that bridge. So hopefully we'll be able to get some things going. But yeah, that was that whole situation. So there's a whole side to social media and content creating that you use. It's like, oh, they're propping up their phone and making funny videos. It's like, no, there's another side to it. And we're not even, and right now, actually, for me, I'm not getting paid at all. So yeah, that's the.
No, I mean, I think that goes with almost like any sort of on-air media industry where viewers may just, they see what's in front of them, they see what's on screen, but they don't know about how much preparation and things go on in the background. I mean, even here, you know, with putting together the newscast and everything, you know, we could spend 2 days on a story trying to figure out who to talk to and all that, but then it doesn't come together and then it doesn't happen. But then once it goes out there, people just see that story, but they don't realize like all the steps it took to get there.
Yeah. So much behind it.
Yeah. So even just like you said, it's not just as simple as putting your phone on a tripod, standing in front of it.
We're professional idiots, but
so that brings me to one of my other questions is, like, how do you come up with the skits? Like, what is your process? Is it, because you just said, you know, you wrote a couple. Are you sitting, taking a day to come up with stuff and like brainstorming? What is that process like?
So if it's with the group, usually usually it was Fridays that we'd link up and then we just get together and be like, and we just sit there, like we'd all have ideas and we just bring it to the table and we just sit there and be like, what if we did this? And then like once somebody like slipped in the idea and then we start riffing with each other, just like, okay, what if we did that and add that on to this and that? So group wise, that's how it kind of formed with the skits. Like for myself, it was just knowing who my audience is. So in the beginning, it was heavily local Hawaii audience, you know? And so in the beginning, I was just like, okay, what was funny to me, like growing up? And like, for example, one of the things was standing in the line for the luau. And like you're waiting in that long line, you know? And you finally get there and like the auntie puts on just a little bit of kalua pig, because you know, kind of thing.
You get one sweet potato.
Yeah, one
big.
sweet potato that big, and then it's just like a little, not even a scoop of kalua pig. It's just like you can see she's like letting go of more of the. So it drops down. You're like, I want more of that. So, so something like that, and then I just be like, okay, how can I make that funny? Yeah. And just, you know, throw in that local flair.
I don't know if you want to throw in your headphones. I have one of your skits that it reminded me of.
Ozzy, welcome to Starbucks. What you like? I can do one grande dark kalua pig roast. And then can do one venti palusami macchiato with mayonnaise walls. Okay, so one venti palusami macchiato with mayonnaise walls. You like the mayonnaise drizzle on? You know what? Just do a light drizzle on the mayonnaise, yeah? Yeah, I can. Got you. And then I like one grande ice peanut
we can pause. How do you come up with something like that?
That one, so usually my content was just like, okay, what's the idea? And then I just kind of like go with it. Not really anything written. That one was the first one that I wrote down. And I was like, okay, how can I do a play on words with like, how can I mix Polynesian with like Starbucks? How's that going to happen? And so out of that came and that's actually the video that like popped me off in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I was living in Utah at that time. So that it's always fun because I'm so proud of that video.
You should be. It's funny.
I'm so happy about that video because that's one of the ones where it's like, okay, like there's something there. And so I followed that feeling. It's like, okay, how can I just mix these two things together, you know? Yeah.
There's an older video that we don't even need the volume for, but in my search for your content, I found this video.
Oh wow!
I played the haka back in high school, and
A young Kulani.
I wish I could go back and do it the right way.
It was an interview with you about how you had like a mission to teach schools on the mainland how to properly do the haka, because I mean you see it a lot actually.
They're like mixing it.
Where they're, I mean, I wouldn't be able to tell you, I could tell like a decent one from a bad one, but if it was just like culturally, this is incorrect or this is correct, like I couldn't tell you that. But you had that mission to go and teach schools on the mainland. Did you ever end up getting to do that?
No, there was a video popped off. I can't remember what school it was, but it was like taking a portion of the haka and then mixing it with another thing which wasn't really haka. And like from my cultural background it's Hawaiian Maori, but like the small part of me that is Maori, that I was just like, everybody was just like, that's not the way it's supposed to be done. So I put out that video, and then that Facebook page, the Maori Facebook page, reposted it. So that I called the school, they never got back to me, and I heard that someone who's much more knowledgeable about like the culture, like was taking the reins on that. And so I was like, well, okay.
Well, it's good
like,
to know.
That's what I needed to know. And then, because I can only go so far with what I know. That's what I just wanted for people in the mainland, because I realized what I had done in my high school years. Instead of it being hype, I wanted more knowledge based around it, you know. So yeah. Wow, that's an old video.
How old are you in that video?
I was 16 going on 17.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's Catholic school.
Yeah. All boys Catholic high school.
Yeah. How was that?
Wow. And that was an experience, because I went straight from Halalokahi, which was charter school, and I went straight into that where there's no girls and it's Catholic all boys. And it was I hated the freshman year. I hated it so much because I was like wondering why my parents would send me there.
Yeah. Why did you get an explanation?
Oh, it was just basically like to keep me in check a little bit more. Like not that my sisters are bad people, but they had experiences in high school, like where they went to Farrington or things like that. And not to say that Farrington's a bad school either. I love Farrington. But just their experiences in public school, I think they wanted to send me to private school.
I think we have that in common, because I went to St. Joe on the Big Island.
Yeah.
And
Is it a all boys school?
It's not all boys, but Catholic
lucky,
school. Catholic school, and the reason that I was sent there is similar. Is I moved to the Big Island from Massachusetts my summer after my freshman year of high school, and I had moved to Paradise Park in Puna, and the district or area that I was supposed to go to was Keao High School. And my parents, who had heard from other family that lived on the Big Island, were like, maybe you should think about a private school. I don't know if Keao, if he'll fit in. So he may be safer.
fit in.
He may be safer at St. Joe. And I had no idea. I came to Hawaii with no, preconceived notions about anything, but they said, maybe he'll be a little bit safer. He might have an easier time at a smaller school. And
is it Catholic back? Do you have a Catholic background?
No.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So even more so, like you move from Massachusetts to like cultural shock, basically.
Yeah.
And then you go straight into like a religious kind of.
Yeah. I mean, I just went with the flow. I was like, all right, we're going to say a prayer before lunch. We're going to say a prayer before we leave and call it a day. And,
call it a day.
Yeah. So, but back to you. When you're coming up with skits and stuff, have you ever written a skit or come up with a skit, and you're either like, oh, I don't want to do that, or you come up with a skit and you do it and you're like, whoa, that did not turn out like the way that I thought it was going to turn out at all?
Yeah, I can't think of one off. I remember having that feeling. Some of the more recent skits, it's so weird because I've gone from like like really talking in the skits and acting and stuff like that to like not doing anything at all. So if you look at my more recent skits, I'm like, I don't say anything. It's reaction based, and then I use other people's content and I just mesh myself into it a little bit. So that one, the first one I did that was like shocking to me was there's this content creator, Ava Marie, and she's from the mainland. She's not from Hawaii. She's so smart. You guys will have to go check it out. But she basically what she does is she like just anything. She goes, cup of water, nothing like it, and that's it. And she blows up from that. That's her slogan. So anything, it's like iPhone 10, nothing like it, and just kills it. So there was one.
I don't get it.
Exactly. This is social media. So she did one video where she had made steak, mashed potatoes, and mac and cheese.
And there's nothing like it.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. But the steak looked underdone. It was. Anyways, I'm not gonna talk.
I'm gonna have to go find it.
I'll show it to you. But she made the plate of food and she's holding it up to the phone. So the angle that she holds up to the phone is like this.
Mm-hmm.
But from a point of view perspective, it would look like she's holding her hand out like this. And so what I did is I had my wife like act like she was choking me.
Okay,
so
okay.
Point of view wise, it looks like the lady in the video is choking me.
Yeah.
So she's like, nothing like a steak dinner. And then it cuts to me and she just like chokes me. This is like going from local content to this, like, because I realized watching TikToks and Instagram videos, it's like, okay, I feel like I've gone as far as I can go with local content. So how can I expand like beyond Hawaii and then start going out towards the mainland? And the mainland is like, if you do local content, like a lot of people will understand it, but it's just
very niche. Like,
very niche, yeah.
Me and my friends, we love like local content, but if you show it to anyone like outside of Hawaii, it's kind of
like,
you get that
they
awkward silence.
it,
It's like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, how can I switch it up to where it's accepted by not only people in Hawaii, or understood not only by people in Hawaii, but like the mainland or like New Zealand or like England or which. So that was it. And I was like, noticed people were doing reaction videos to a lot of those things. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try.
It's like
a
lot of stitches now, where
where
and
it's like they blend themselves into the video somehow.
you take someone else's and you just kind of improve upon it and you make it your own.
Exactly. So that's where I've been going with the content, and so I did that with Eva's video, and I asked her if I could post it, and she was like, "Of course, nothing like it." She's so smart. I don't know if I'll talk about her, but I'll say this: she's smart.
She knows what she's doing.
She knows what she's doing, but it's not planned or anything. She's just she does shout out videos.
Okay.
Says nothing like it, like
cameos.
Nothing like Derek's birthday. Nothing like it, and then cameos like that.
Yeah.
And she charges $15 a piece. She posts 10 videos a day, saying nothing, like doing nothing like it. Shout outs.
That's $150 right there.
7 days a week. She does it 7 days. She doesn't stop. So what's that? That's almost like
Bad at math.
$900 a week.
Yeah, more. That's like $1,000.
9 times 4, $2,800.
I'm gonna start wishing people happy birthday.
Yeah, you gotta find that niche. So
yeah.
Anyways, sorry. Long story short, that's where I've been at with content. It's kind of been on a down slope because I've been going other places with what I'm trying to do. But yeah, content wise, that's.
Do you like know when a post is going to go viral, or do you ever have a feeling like, oh, this is gonna be good, or did they just take you by surprise? You're like,
so that video in particular, I was
Yeah.
like, I'll just throw it up there and see what happens.
yeah,
And if you go look at Instagram right now, I think it's at like, I don't know if it's that video, but I want to say like 300,000 likes and like so and so million views on that video. And I didn't expect that at
Yeah.
all. So, yeah, I won't even. But so I started doing videos like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like hit or miss sometimes.
yeah,
But a lot of the reaction videos where I just kind of placed myself into it all blew up. So, but then for me, I was like, I don't know if I want to keep doing that. I want to I want to be more creative than just like, because I don't say anything in those videos.
Yeah.
I don't do any type.
so like make a face or
All I do is like,
Yeah.
or just like, sometimes it's my hand. I'm just like going like this. I'm like,
yeah.
and then that's it. So.
I would say like I don't know. I could see similarities to like actors and comedians,
Yeah.
but for you, but do you take any inspiration from anybody and like not just like obviously you see their post and then you tweak it and work with it, but like are there actors where you're like, oh, like I'm trying to imitate their their tone or their movements or anything like that?
Jack Black definitely is one. Like if you watch some of the videos I do, I'm very like, he's very, I don't know what the word is, but just his body,
Yeah.
And then once he speaks, and then you're just like, that's so funny.
Yeah.
But it's just the way he moves, the way he speaks, and it's people who like just very quick-witted. I can't think of anybody off the top, but Jack Black's one of them. Chris Farley's one of them. Chris Farley.
That was the one in my head.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to say that. That was the one in my head.
Yeah. So it's so much body like he doesn't even need to say anything.
Yeah.
All he has to do is fall on a table and just like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
But even just like how he does it,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
you look at that classic Matt Foley skit where,
Oh,
I mean,
Van
even just
Down
like
by the River.
how he does it,
Yeah.
it's just incredible, and it's like one of a kind.
yeah.
So if you're taking inspiration from those two guys, like obviously,
Those are my spirit animals. Right? Yeah, I love them.
so we talked about how stuff blows up,
Yeah.
but is there ones where you thought it was going to go great and then it was just like fell flat?
Yeah, all the time.
Like-
That happens all the time. Like, I can't think of one right off the top of my head. I think I did like everything for that one. Oh man, what is it? It was right there, and then the memory just like went away. But there have been videos like that where I put so much time into it, and I'm like editing. I was like, this is gonna be the best, and in my head I'm like, this is funny. It's gonna blow up. It's gonna go way beyond what I think like my page can be right now. So post it. No comments. There's like there's like a comment, but it's like from my mom or something. Or it's like it's like a few likes here and there. And it's just like I put so much time into that
Yeah.
and nothing. And then I come out with
That choking one.
choking one,
Yeah.
and then everybody's like, said this in another podcast, but I just go beep bop beep bop boop bop, and then everybody's like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's so funny." It's like I didn't do anything. I think that's the problem I have with the content that I've been doing recently. Is
Yeah.
that it's so just like beep bop bop bop, that it's like no, there's more to this.
There's
more to
you're not getting like fulfillment out of it.
yeah, like it will get obviously like the likes and the comments and the follows and everything from it, but there's no like
It's different when you build something from scratch
yeah,
and from the idea itself into oh, we're gonna shoot this angle, we're gonna
Yeah.
have this dialogue, and then you have to edit and clip it, and
Yeah.
then it turns out well, and then you get
Yeah.
the positive feedback, as opposed to it's like you said, you make a couple of noises or you react and like I'm just gonna react to this video, and that's the thing that
Yeah.
blows up. Have you ever had to deal though with like actual negative comments
Oh,
or
yeah.
feedback?
all the time.
And
Yeah.
like without swears, like what's like some of like the worst stuff that you've heard, and then follow up, how do you deal with that?
Oh, it comes from everyone. So like people in the mainland just saying it's not funny at all. weight issues, and then even from like the Polynesian community, just like saying that, oh, look at this Palangi boy trying to be Polynesian, or it's like just attacks, you know. So, but man, it gets to that point. Some days I'll be writing like a page of comment, you know, and I'll just like be ready to post it. I'm just like, what does that do though, you know?
Oh, like a response.
Like a response.
Oh.
Sorry, yeah. So I'll be just I'm like shooting them with the facts, and I'm like looking into their Instagram page, and I'm finding their Facebook page, and now I know what your mother looks like. And this is like, your mom's, no, I don't. But it's like it will get to that far, and then just I'll write it all out, and then I'll be ready to post it, and then I'll just like double click the text and then delete it.
I think that's like that's an actual like coping or mechanism that or like a therapeutic mechanism where they tell you, you know, when you're angry, write out what you want to say and then delete it and then like rewrite it, because the first draft of whatever you want to say is always going to be like come off way too strong. But deleting it altogether is probably the best idea.
So that's kind of been how I coped with it. It's like they'll come after me, and I'll just write it out, and then I'll just delete it, because I know it doesn't go anywhere. Like, they have their opinions, I have my opinion, and social media is not known for like people coming together on opinions. You know what I mean? It's like,
everyone's like, yeah.
It's like, wait a second, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I think there's memes where it's just like, when have you ever like convinced someone with a different opinion in like a comment thread?
Yeah, exactly. Nobody's going out there and like,
good point. Good point.
Good point, actually.
You know what? You're right all along.
Well, all right, I'll give you that one. You know, like, no, nobody's doing that. So it's just like, don't put your energy into it at all. It's like the worst type of energy, you know.
Did you have to like get over a hump of putting yourself out there as a public figure at all and exposing yourself to any of that negative feedback?
Yeah. So in the beginning, it wasn't too bad because everybody's on your side in the beginning. And most of them are your friends or your family members or like local people that you kind of grew up around. So in the beginning, it was fine, you know, because and then once you start growing and then people who don't know you start to follow you, then it starts kind of getting the water starts getting kind of muddy. But then once you start expanding like past Hawaii, then that's when it's just like, okay, like free game kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. And then obviously you have to take everything that everyone says with a grain of salt. And
yeah, exactly. And that's so hard because, you know, local Hawaii style are just like, oh, you want to go after them, you know? But
I'm going to tell my boys.
Yeah. Where you at? Massachusetts? Oh, not going to roll up on you.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's nothing you can do. There's not like, just leave it, just drop it at the end of the day. It doesn't matter, you know. While they're over there like just fooling around in life, you're over here like, this guy said that, you know, you're wasting your time with that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's I've had that way too often. Yeah.
What is your goal in content creation? Do you have an end game in it, or is this something that you think you'll just pursue, like you said, as a passion project?
I think more so passion project right now. So recently, like, I haven't been posting all too much because the end goal with content, I think it's just more so to show people what I really want to do is writing. That's what I want to go into, you know. So I think with the page and the content creation, I think it's helped me prove myself as someone who does have foundation in comedy, you know, so I can write comedy. It's like, okay, he obviously has this many followers, that's got to mean something, you know. So I know I still have a lot to learn, but yeah, I mean, the end goal is writing. Like, I've written a few 2 movies right now, working on a few short films, and that's kind of where I've been putting all my energy. Is because with social media is kind of overcrowded right now, especially the content creation side. Like in 2020, we were like we were riding a wave that we didn't even know we were riding, you know, as content creators. And we're still riding it, but it's like there's so many people on that wave now, you know. And it's kind of been what's the word? It's like you gotta ready for something else, something bigger. Because I think we've all proven. I'll speak for myself. I think I've proven to myself as a content creator, okay, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, for other people, like with like Xavier and Tumua, they're obviously using it as a great tool to put themselves out there as a branding. You know.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like their own brand itself.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, I'm just like, okay, like I think I'll just use it as my business card kind of thing.
Say this is something up my sleeve, like I can do this, and
but at the same time I'm writing, so this is my business card to show you that I can do it.
Yeah.
And if you're interested, go look at what I wrote, you know,
kind
of thing. So so the content, like, and that's the thing too, is like I know I can do the content. It's just I don't want to put my energy into it all too much. Like more of my energy is into the writing right now. So
you have more of a behind the scenes aspirations as opposed to being in front of the camera.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what's how it's molded me. It's the content creation. Like I said, I went into project management with all the content creators within the group, and then it just I've everybody that creates content is editor. Like they gotta edit. And I was like, okay, like that's cool, but it's, you know, I'm not really feeling that. And then I found like happiness in writing, because when it's on paper, like even in this when I'm a part of podcasts or if I'm talking to people, like I can't really put out what I'm thinking in my head. But when I'm writing and I'm sitting down, the words just like fly off. Like everything that's in there is like easy comes out. So yeah, I found joy in writing, and I think that's where I want to go with it. Yeah, that's where I'm going.
When we were talking about like Tumua and Xavier and how they have like their brand is themselves, it reminded me that you originally, I started following you when you were Cutlass.
Yeah,
Cutlass.
Yeah.
And then now you're Kulani Watson. So I asked, where did the Cutlass name come from, and then how come you changed it?
Yeah. So Cutlass came from, that was the first car that was that I owned, was a Cutlass Supreme Oldsmobile.
Okay.
And it was my great uncle's, so my grandma's brother. He handed it down to us, me and my siblings. But I went to BYU Hawaii, and I had that Cutlass Supreme. Oh my gosh, I felt so cool. Because it was like a tan brown kind of thing, and it's just so long, and you're just like kind of riding easy in it. And so that's where the name came from. The page originally started as a place where I could share my art. So I went to
all
school,
the graphic designs and stuff.
Like the graphics designs and stuff. And so I put it up there, and like I would create art, and I was like, I don't want to put like Kulani on it. I want to put something else in. I was like, I love this. I love the Cutlass Oldsmobile, so I'll just Cutlass, you know.
Got it.
So that's where the name came from, and then the name change. It's kind of like what we've been talking about. I've been like shifting from content creation to writing. Yeah. Because I found passion in writing. Yeah. So and that's like, I think to be taken more professional, or if people are viewing my page, they're like, okay, it's like who the heck is Cutlass? Yeah. You know, it's like it's okay. It's my name. It's if you look, I don't know who has, like Russell has his name as Russell Satele, and all the other guys, but yeah, I just wanted to switch it up, be a little bit more professional.
It reminds me of like my Gmail that I created when I was like 10, and
exactly,
and I still have it to this day. And now, like when I have to say it over like the phone to somebody, then it's like, oh god, I really should probably change this.
You still have it?
I still have it.
Mine was manapuaman at gmail.com, and then I switched it to Kulani. I won't say it, but it's easy. But yeah, I switched it to something more professional.
Yeah,
my name in it, and so that's pretty much the same thing. I just want to be more professional, taking it a little bit more seriously. Yeah, not just like there's so much more going on in content creation than just like like we said, propping up the phone and
Yeah.
doing something dumb. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's where I'm at.
So you say you want to like be taken seriously. Do you get recognized in public as like the goofy guy that makes these funny videos at all?
Yeah, we were just at Loon Farms. We were helping family out yesterday. It was like the Eva Sweets Fest, and just a bunch of people. They oh, can I get the big salmon? And then they look up, they're like, they see me and Russell. Me and Russell were working.
Yeah.
And they're just like, you're the guys. You're those guys. Why are you behind this counter, like working this event? You know, kind of thing.
Oh, you were working it.
Yeah, we were.
Oh,
working
I thought you meant like you were just like.
No,
you were.
we were working the event yesterday. We were helping family out.
Okay.
Yeah, a bunch of people came through, said hi, took pictures, but just all throughout, even in Utah, when I was doing stuff, they would stop and they're just like, "Seen you on YouTube." You do these videos." So it's been I love when people come up and just like recognize me in that way, especially in front of my parents, because for my parents it's like,
I'm a big deal.
I don't know if you know this, Mom, but I'm a pretty big deal, Mom.
Yeah.
And it's like you just make these dumb videos where you like put a wig on or something, but then when we're out in public and people come up and they're like, "Cutlass, oh my God," you know.
But those
matters.
Those videos that can turn out to be like iconic in a way. It reminds me of, and I'm blanking on the name, the old local show, and the actor is drinking the wine.
Oh, raps. Yeah.
Yeah. And but like those are iconic skits that everyone remembers. Like even though I didn't grow up in Hawaii, you know, I've seen it, and even though I can't remember the name, like I remember it, and people will recognize you, obviously.
Yeah, and it's an amazing feeling. So thank you to everybody who's come up, and to the people that just take pictures of me and then send it to there's people that, and I'm not trying to roast anybody, but there'll be people who take pictures and then they send it to you later on.
Yeah.
It's like, I saw you. And it's
like, that's not creepy at all.
And that's their proof. And I'm like, oh,
okay.
Why don't you just come up and say hi next time?
Yeah,
but
thanks.
I can, like, embarrassment or things like that. But yeah, I love
Was that weird at first, getting recognized?
Yeah, because my wife as well, she's always like, she's kind of, what's that story? I think it's Aristotle who's like, had somebody who would like constantly follow him around. I don't know if it was Aristotle. It was like some Greek king or something like that. He would always have somebody follow him around and like whisper in his ear, "You're just a man," you know.
And that's your wife to you.
That's my wife to me. So whenever anybody's like, "Oh, can we take a picture with you?" My wife walks off. I was like,
she grounds you. She keeps you. She keeps you level headed.
Yeah, I love her for that. I need that because I don't want to be so like high maka, you know, up in the clouds and stuff like that. And I'm not. I don't feel like I'm not. But my wife keeps me grounded. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So I never know how to end any of the interviews that I do. Yeah. So when I'm like on Zoom, I'm just like, all right, well, shoots. All right, see you later. Like, thanks so much. I figured that kind of fun way to end these interviews would be, because this is social media, online. MySpace used to have the top 8, like your top 8 friends, or so. Not that I'm going to have you list your top 8 friends.
Okay.
But
I got it ready.
I would say I'm going to have you list your I'll give you the choice.
Okay.
Your top 3 things that you're watching right now, or your top 3 pet peeves.
Oh man.
Or you could do both. Up to you.
Dang. Top three. What did I just watch?
Yeah, it could be the latest thing that you watched.
What did I just watch? I just watched something, like I binge watched on it, and now I can't remember what it is. Pet peeves. One pet peeve. When you're driving down the road and somebody's coming off from a side road and they like zip in front of you, and you think they keep that same mentality driving, but no, they like,
they're in a rush,
and then they slam on the brake and they just go like, so that's one pet peeve.
Bad drivers.
Second pet peeve. Yeah, bad drivers. Second pet peeve. I'm trying to find. I think that's like,
you just love everyone.
Yeah. No, not really, but I just can't think of what it is. Man, I'm not off the cuff like this. When you take a picture of the back of my head and send it to me in my DMs, that's it. No, that's not a pet peeve. That's just weird.
Well, that's a good. I'll let you think about that while you answer this question. Do people try to slide into your DMs? Anybody?
Not like flirtatiously, no.
No?
But there've been some where it's not even sliding. It's just like blatant, like, that's something I gotta delete, you know. And it's in the what's that folder where it's like
The request
folder.
Yeah.
And it's like all the way in the back of the request folder. I'm pet peeve. Oh no, not pet peeve. I'm like, I gotta look at every message that I have. Like I'm very what is it, OCD?
Yeah. Before you even got here, I was just in a text conversation with my friends. They took a screenshot of their text messages. Some guy had 52 unread. Another had like 100 or something.
Text messages. I'm like 88 in right now.
So I couldn't do that. That's a pet peeve of mine.
The text messages, I'm fine with that, but yeah.
Seeing that red badge of unread something, that's something I can't deal with.
That's my Instagram DMs. I got to look at every message that was sent to me, and I'll try my best to respond. And then not in the request folder though. I want like there's some weird stuff in there. And it's just like delete, block. So yeah, that's no sliding, just weird things.
Awesome. All right. Well, we found out that your pet peeve is bad drivers, and you gotta get rid of any notifications on your Instagram.
Yeah.
And other than that, you love everybody.
Yeah. That's the weirdest.
The
dumbest thing, bro.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's it. We've come to our natural close of the first edition of Slow Your Scroll. I do really, again, appreciate you helping me launch this.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
that's not an exaggeration by any stretch of the term. So thank you. And hopefully everybody enjoyed. Thank you for listening to this episode of Slow Your Scroll. For more episodes like this, head to hawaiinewsnow.com/podcasts.